Okay, I'll see if I can explain this. When you're studying the Bible, it's really hard to understand something if you haven't spent a lot of time trying to learn what subjects mean. I started a long time ago, 40 years ago, longer than that, studying the Bible and trying to figure out and learning different things. After a time, I reached a point where what I read didn't match what was being taught. And so I kept thinking, well, maybe these people are just stupid. I don't understand this. Why are they teaching something that's not even in the Bible? In the late 80s, I figured out that the Antichrist is a spirit. And this spirit came in the world 2,000 years ago. So I was like, that makes sense to me now. These people, they're not being led by the Spirit of God. They're being led by this false spirit. And so when I started seeing that, as I listened to these preachers preach, I'm talking television evangelists, and we all know who these famous names are and what they've taught down through the years. The more I listened to them, and the more I started realizing this, like, when you actually listen to these people and these scriptures they quote, and then you put them in perspective to the Bible, they're quoting scriptures that don't even have anything to do with the subject they're talking about. And a lot of these preachers don't know how to stay in a subject or a context of a subject either. So what I did then after that is started putting together what the Bible actually said and using the Bible to interpret the Bible, and not what people are telling me. And people are always telling me, well, you're wrong about the tribulation. The tribulation's coming up. No, it's not. This is the tribulation. The tribulation is the absence of God. God doesn't let himself be known. You have to find him. You have to seek him. We're in a time of salvation coming through grace, not by works. We don't have to follow the law. The law is gone. Not in its entirety, but in its concept. It's gone by judgment. We're not judged by the law. So the tribulation is over, and it goes exactly like Jesus said. He said at the end of the tribulation, then there's going to be some greater sorrows, which is great, greater than what's now. Now things are pretty peaceable, considering, anyway, at least in this country. The powers of heaven are going to be shaken, and that's when the people are going to be taken away. And so a lot of these preachers have taken what's in the book of Revelation and said, well, that is the tribulation period. No, it's not. Because most of the stuff you read in the book of Revelation happens after the tribulation. And so it's not the tribulation period. You have periods of wrath. You have a period of regrowth. You have a huge dimension or decline in the earth population. And Israel's going to be under a major deception during this time frame. Or that time frame, not now. Well, now you still have Christians over there, which is good. So I get bashed all the time, but I get bashed mostly by people who have this preconceived concept in their minds, and they have studied with these pastors, and they have listened to them, or they have watched movies, and I understand what they're saying. Well, how come so many teaching the same thing? How is it that they can be wrong? Very simple. It's really simple. There are more bad spirits in this world than there are good spirits. So when you study in the Bible, you've really got to take it for what it says. Daniel never mentioned tribulation. He's talking about two princes. Jesus never said I would call for a rapture beforehand. He said afterwards. He's the one who talked about the tribulation. The Apostle Paul never said, yeah, it's going to happen in a twinkling of an eye, but he never said when it would happen. He said how it would happen. And so you have all these people who think that, well, we're not appointed to wrath. Well, that's right. We're not appointed to wrath, but we are appointed to tribulation, because every Christian has to go through the tribulation. And in the Revelation, chapter 7, the number of the people, the masses, consider that, the masses of the people who are taken out of the great tribulation. The great is the duration of it, not the intensity of it. It's the duration of it. And yet there are people who say, well, listen to the ignorance of this. There are people who say, Well, this is the people who are taken out of the tribulation period. Wait a minute. Okay, that's at the first part of the book of Revelation, and then you're claiming that the second part is the tribulation. And so, okay, let's say you're right for a second. So you got the masses here that you claim are out of that great tribulation. Well, what happened to the believers? Where are they at? You know, so you have no accountability when you do that. There's no accountability for the saved people, and that's how they've developed this secret rapture. It's because they have no accountability because they've used the wrong timelines, the wrong framework, and the wrong structure to call it tribulation. All I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set this stuff straight. I get ridiculed a lot for it, but that's just really perfectly normal. One thing I have learned in life, and I'll say it this way, is I used to work with people, and I used to show them how to do things and train people and on the job and stuff. And one thing I have learned is when a person learns something the wrong way, it is a lot harder to show them the right way than it is to train somebody fresh and new. It's just people get something ingrained into their mind and they don't want to change it. If you're really looking for truth, start looking for it where the truth is and from those who have it, because there's a lot of deceivers out there. There's also a lot of people who have half-truths. They got part of it, but they don't have all of it. And that's the thing that you try to look for, is who really is contradicting what's being said in the Bible, because that's where everybody gets their information from. There isn't one person in the world, not including me, that has the answer for everything, but we can figure a lot of things out. And just try to hold fast to that. As the saying goes, hold fast to what is fine. Just once you've got it, don't let somebody take that away from you. And then if somebody disagrees with you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they disagree. It doesn't matter if people disagree with me. Sometimes it gets upsetting. I get aggravating because people just want to just keep going and keep going and keep going, keep badgering me. And it's not going to do any good. I know what I know. You're not changing my mind. And hopefully I can help show other people how to study the Bible, how to understand what's going on, and try to get these timelines straightened out in their lives as well. It's very important.